I am a survivalist, and by nature a survivalist is an optimist. I do not have one pessimistic bone in my body. If what I just said sounds odd to you, then you are not yet a survivalist and you do not understand the modern survivalist at all. It has been very difficult to communicate to the public and the mass communications media the concept of an optimistic, hopeful survivalist. A fireman is a fireman, not because he believes everything will burn, but because he believes much can be saved. Doctors don't believe in death, they believe in life. And a survivalist is not a survivalist because he believes everything must be destroyed and everyone must die. He believes that life and freedom can be saved, if people of goodwill are prepared. A fireman does not start fires, a doctor does not make disease, and a survivalist does not make disaster. Crime, disease, war, revolution, fire, flood, periodic financial collapse and famine are the results of nature and the nature of man, and unfortunately are not within the power of anyone on this earth to prevent. We all know that the sun will set each day, leaving us in darkness, and we all know that warm summers give way to cold winters and that we can do nothing to keep the sun from setting or the cold winds from coming. Does this make us pessimistic? I think not. So then why is the survivalist called a pessimist when he makes ready to face events that are just as much part of history and nature as the sunset and changing of the seasons? Another misconception is that survivalists are predicting world disaster. On the contrary, we seem to be the optimistic minority that is predicting world survival. We are hard-pressed to find any well-recommended historians, economists, political scientists, sociologists or military strategists that can come up with a scenario that gives even a 50-50 chance of avoiding a large-scale catastrophe, yet we survivalists dare to be optimistic about the future. We survivalists do not need to predict the probability of disaster any more than we need to predict the sun setting. Those who criticize survivalists are like men who refuse to look at a calendar, in the hope that through self-imposed ignorance they can keep from aging another year. You survivalists will be disappointed if we don't have a world cataclysm. Here is another accusation that is pure BS. And I could not think of a milder phrase to describe it. We survivalists have loved ones we don't want to see hurt or killed. We have homes we don't want to see destroyed. We are not fools to think that just because we are survivalists a world cataclysm would be fun for us, although we would not experience danger, loss, hunger, injury, cold, or even despair and death. We have spent time and money to improve our chances for survival and recovery from disaster, but we would have a great celebration if someday we could be assured that we had wasted our time. No, we will not be disappointed if there is no disaster to survive, any more than the Red Cross is disappointed when there are no floods and storms, or the man who buys an insurance policy is disappointed when his house fails to burn down. It may be said that the survivalist would much prefer the pleasant but unlikely surprise of being wrong to the probable, deadly rude awakening that the non-survivalist will face if he is wrong. So, you see, the survivalist cannot lose because his survival proportions will be of value regardless of what the future has in store. In time of crisis, those who have not prepared to turn to each other, will turn on each other. It is most regrettable indeed, that many people consider survivalists as a threat and regard them with suspicion and even hostility. This attitude is logically indefensible and is rooted in the non-survivalist's own sense of fear and guilt. Subconsciously, the non-survivalist may hate the survivalist for reminding him of how fragile his lifestyle is. Now, let's get the facts turned around right. The most dangerous people in America today are the non-survivalists. Every person who has not made provisions for surviving without food, water, fuel and other essential needs from the outside, is a mortal danger to his neighbors. What will a man do when he and his family are freezing, hungry, thirsty, sick and starving? He may ask or beg his neighbors for help, but when they have no extra fuel, food, water or medicine to give, will he just go back home to die with his wife and kids? What do you think? We survivalists who stock up on food and other supplies, now do a favor to society because what we now buy is replaced on the shelves, so there will be that much more available in an emergency. We survivalists won't be looting and killing for food. We won't be a burden on the medical facilities or a danger to the police. Since we will be able to turn to each other, We will not need to turn on anyone, and we may be able to help at least some. Survival preparation should be regarded as a social obligation, one that every individual owes to his family and community and his nation. The non-survivalist is simply a poor and irresponsible citizen, so the reality is that survivalists are optimistic, self-reliant individuals who cannot help but see the imperative of preparing for the worst possible events, while hoping sincerely that they won't happen. Today's survivalist is an asset to his community and to the world, and should be proud to be called survivalist.